Hi, Miranda Rikes. We did it. We are putting out a new book into the world, the Rapid Novel Blueprint. How do you feel about it?
Super excited because actually we've been talking about working on a project together for 6 years.
I know. And that I'm really excited about it too, because you go behind the scenes, I go behind the scenes, and everything we wish we knew that I'm not seeing in any other craft book. This is the fastest road to get books out and really have them be bestsellers. So, the Rapid Novel Blueprint, it's out. And so we're going to do this series of 4 videos. And the first video is going to be on vision and fulfillment. One thing that you wrote the very second chapter of this book, what do you want? Because if you don't know what you want, it's really hard to reach fulfillment. And so I kind of wanted to talk together about when you're starting out as an author, having a vision for a book. And I heard this quote recently that I think is so true for publishing. The more detailed and vivid your future self, the faster you'll progress. Ben Hardy said that. He had a book on future self. I read the book and I want to talk about it specifically for writers. So, to start us out, I'd love to hear why you thought it was really important to, right at the beginning of the book, talk about what do you want? What is your vision?
Probably because I spent about a decade not knowing what I wanted. And as a result, I didn't write any books. Well, so actually it took me to that point when we started working together for me to actually know what I wanted. Well, I knew I wanted to write a book. I mean, plenty of people know they want to write a book, or they want to, particularly I wanted to write fiction because I was published for nonfiction. But I had no clarity around that. I didn't know what genre I wanted to write in. I didn't know who my target audience was going to be. I kind of had a lot of ideas for stories, but just loads of different ideas, nothing that was sort of really well formulated. And I didn't know what I wanted personally. I didn't know, did I want to earn money from my writing? Did I want to be a bestseller, or did I want to win a literary prize? That's never going to happen, by the way, not for me. And so there was this complete lack of clarity over what I wanted to achieve. And it wasn't until I really worked out the things that were important to me and the genre that I wanted to write in that my writing career took off.
And I love that you said that, because I think a lot of the self-doubt that people have around, am I going to be a published author? Is this going to work? Are people going to read it? All of that self-talk that stops us from writing books comes from not knowing exactly what you want. And so this is kind of a simple place to start, but a great place to start, because people come up to us all the time and they say, I'd love to write fiction. But if you don't really know what you want out of writing fiction, and you don't know the specific avenues within the fiction universe, then yeah, it can be really daunting, because you had written books before, and it was really when you got enthusiastic about psychological thrillers. I mean, you just said, on an aside, I mean, I'm not going to win a literary prize, but on the other hand, you're publishing books. You have so many people who are just reading and reading your books, and you're making a great income off of them. And so you know exactly what you want. And if you wanted to go after a prize, then you would go after that prize. And so I think understanding the different places within the fiction universe and understanding what you want is so important. And a lot of the doubt uh, that will go away when you know what you want. And so I'd love to hear from you. How did you hone in and start to realize the kind of books you wanted to write?
I think it was two reasons. One, the first and most important, is I love reading psychological thrillers. I mean, I read and I read and I read, and I feel passionately that you can't become a writer unless you read. And I know people get worried that they're going to read a lot and that they might nick other people's ideas inadvertently. But let me tell you something, nothing is new. Nothing in any art form is new. And honestly, I think it's as simple as that. If there's a particular genre that you like to read, then that is kind of your natural genre to write in. And I also think, the more you read in that genre, the more you're going to understand it. And and it's really, really important to have a good understanding of that particular genre, the type of person who reads it, the key plot points within that genre, which I'm sure we'll come on to talk about.
Absolutely. We're going to do an entire video about a beat sheet, because when you understand the books that you like, and when you understand the readers and what they want out of those books, all of a sudden you're less alone. And so when you're shopping, I was doing this recently because I'm a book coach, so I'm helping with all kinds of books. What I love to do is when I'm working with a client, and let's say they're writing romance, there are different kinds of romance: billionaire romance, Hallmark romance, young adult romance. And so reading the top sellers in those different areas, not only does it give you an idea of the structure, outline, or beat sheet you're going to use, which clarifies your vision, but then it also, if you don't enjoy that genre, then you're not going to understand the readers and you're not going to be able to write it very easily, which also goes to literary expectations, which was another topic I really wanted to talk about today. So, also knowing your goals, I'm just going to kind of set it up a little bit, and then I'd love to hear your take on it. So, for instance, when you're writing psychological thrillers, oh my goodness, people just purchase and purchase and purchase those books, and they read them in about a week. And yet, we have yet to see a Nobel Prize in literature for, psychological thriller series. And so also understanding whether people expect standalone books or whether they expect a series in a particular genre, that helps you understand and really specify your vision for that genre. And so I'd love to hear your take on literary expectations, because you've published in a variety of genres and you know a lot about this topic.
So I think it comes back to a lot of what you want to achieve as an author. So I said at the beginning here that I'm never going to win any literary prizes. I'm not. I write what is commonly known as popcorn thrillers. In other words, they're super easy to read. You'll race through them. I mean, some people will read my books in one sitting. They're page turners. They are, short sentences, and there's nothing very well. The plot, I hope, is sufficiently clever, but there's no great skill, if you like, in the literary writing of them. And so I knew that I wasn't really bothered about winning any literary prizes. I'd much rather get my book into the hands of lots of people and give them a really thrilling time, and for them to get enjoyment out of my books, and to be super easy to read. And I've been really lucky. It worked. We've sold well over 600,000 books over the last 5 years. So I also wanted to earn money from it. And it's quite kind of, it's almost like a dirty thing to say, isn't it? That I wanted to earn money from my writing. I did. I wanted to be a full-time writer and it to be my main income. And we've managed to achieve that. So that's, another sort of important thing. But then it goes beyond that. So it's the genre. So if you want to write literary fiction, the chances are you are not going to sell loads of books, but you might get a prize. You may well get an agent, and you may well find your book on, sort of on a shelf of Barnes and Noble or Waterstones, maybe one copy, not many copies, but enough. But if, like me, you would rather go for kind of like the mass market model, then I'm with what's considered to be an indie publisher. So Incubator Books, they basically just do digital first. So our business model is Amazon. And so we sell huge numbers of digital copies of my books, and also my books are in Kindle Unlimited. that's not for everybody. Some people don't like that business model. It doesn't sit with their ethos, which is absolutely fine. But you do need to think about how you're going to get to market. Are you going to self-publish? Do you want to go down the traditional publishing route? Are you happy to do the indie route? And if you want to go to the traditional route, you will need an agent, and the agent will take a cut of whatever you're earning. And there are many issues around the traditional route that are fundamentally different to the indie route. For starters, there's no way that a traditional publisher would put out more than one book a year per author. I've been writing 4 books a year. It just would not happen. So then there's a lot of variables here. So just to get that complete clarity of the genre you want to write in and what you want to achieve from your writing.
Exactly. And so in our book, The Rapid Novel Blueprint, you have put all of these journal questions, and some might require a little bit of research if you're evaluating whether you want to get an agent, whether you want to go with a traditional publisher, whether you want to be able to write quickly. The Rapid Novel Blueprint shows you how, if you want to write commercial fiction, which is written fairly quickly, we're not, spending hours and hours, working through the sentences like F. Scott Fitzgerald, really transparent, clear prose that make for page-turning books. And so that's how you can really write best-selling books quickly. And so we began with just thinking about these journal questions of how important to you are finances? How important to you are prizes? Do you like the traditional publishers? Do you know who the niche publishers or the genre publishers in your particular reading market are? Do you know those kinds of details? And so, kind of to close out this vision, I'd love to talk about commercial fiction, kind of to bridge this conversation, talking about commercial fiction and understanding who the market for your book is. Because when you really start to understand your category in Amazon, when you start to understand who your reader is, it can be so liberating. Suddenly you have a structure for your book and you have reader expectations. So how do you think about reader expectations when you're writing?
So I call it genre fiction as opposed to commercial fiction, but it's essentially the same thing. So you simply go on to Amazon and have a look at all of the different categories on Amazon, and the more you click, the more that breaks down into sort of more and more categories. So obviously, so with psychological thrillers, that starts with crime and thrillers, and then it goes to thrillers, and then you've got mysteries and thrillers, and then eventually you get down to psychological thrillers. So for me, it's understanding exactly the type of book that you want to write and where that's going to sit within the market. And then it's quite simple. You just read a lot in that genre. And the more you read, the more you'll just kind of absorb it. You'll absorb the things that are the tropes. And there are tropes. For instance, if you were going to write a romance book and they didn't have a happy ever after, yeah, I think your reader's going to be a bit upset with you. It's the same with psychological thrillers. If you don't have a twist, then the chances are your book's going to be slated. So you need to understand those key things that sit within your genre. And there's a load of information out there on the internet. You can absolutely find that, but just know what the genre is first. That's number one.
Absolutely. And actually, it's one of my favorite parts of the writing process and supporting other writers is because at the end of the day, you just relax and you lose yourself in whatever genre it is you love. And you're going to know right away. Recently, I had a client switch genres, and the writing, her voice is just going faster and it's spectacular. It's not hard because she loves reading that genre. And so basically, I promise the whole process will go so much faster if you just shop the catalog, get into those different Amazon categories, get deep into the genres, get deep into those different types of writing. And so we've gone through this topic pretty fast in this video, but if you want to get the journal questions so you can really figure this out for yourself, it's going to save you so much time, so much clarity, and erase a lot of the doubt from your mind. We have the link to the Rapid Novel Blueprint right below, and we even have goal setting worksheets so you can get perfect clarity for your vision. Thank you so much, Miranda.
It's a pleasure, as always. Enjoy
Bye.
your writing, everyone. Bye.